What's up, guys? I want to give you a quick update before we dive into today's video about the progress of the book. I have set myself a deadline of like 2 weeks from today, basically before I fly out for the 21 convention, that I will have it all written and ready to go to editing so that we can get this done, because it has taken long enough. It is done. And I think that tell me if you're like this, but when I first decided that I was going to do this, honestly, like 2 years ago, I expected writing a book to go something like this. When the reality is it's something a lot more like this. It's just one of those things that in fact, why I'm giving you an update on this, and I want to talk to you about this in relation to some other questions that I got from some other guys, and just kind of some principles in general. What I have done is I have allowed the amount of time that I put into focusing on this book to go too high. I've given myself way too much time, and as a result, I've been able to decrease or allow myself to justify decreasing the amount of effort I put into it. And so the reality is if I'm not like really feeling it, if I'm not like in the mode writing, then I haven't gotten a lot of writing done, and that's bogus on my part. That's totally weak. But I want to talk to you guys about that, because this is one of these things that came up as I was a guest on a podcast, which if you want to check out that podcast episode, I've got a link down here for you below, and you can listen to the whole thing. But the host, Craig, was asking me a very common question, and it's one that I get from you guys all the time. It's one that I hear very often, and it's, what do you do if you don't have a very high budget as far as improvement to your style? And as you guys know, like one of the worst kept secrets about this channel is that I talk about the concepts and the philosophies of style as a way to apply them to broader topics in life. And so obviously what we will talk about today applies to way more than just your style and your clothing. But one of these things that, as I've worked with some friends who are other coaches and things like that, as we've had conversations, that we've been able to determine is, if you want to make any progress in your life, you need to put in 3 different things. One is time. You can put time here. Number 2 is going to be money right here. And then number 3 is going to be energy. And these all have a proportionate relationship with each other. And so let's say when it comes to the example of your style, you don't have a lot of money that you can put into that. Well, what that means you need to do is, as you push this down, then that means that both the time and or the energy need to go up, or one of them needs to go up significantly while the other only rises to some extent. And so all of these have to be kind of equal in what the total output is in order for you to attain any sort of growth. Otherwise, obviously, all 3 of them can be at nothing or very low levels, and then you don't see any progress whatsoever. Now, the problem that most of us experience with growth is that we misallocate where we stand or what we should when it comes to things like time, money, and energy. We look at it as, especially if you're younger guys, because as we go through different stages in our lives, then the resources that we have access to change. When you're young, when you're in your teens or your early 20s, it feels like you have an abundance of both energy and time. And what you don't really have a whole lot of is money, right? And then as you get a little bit older, then what you can do is, hopefully your access to money increases, but your energy will start to taper off, and eventually that will start to decrease. And more than anything else, this time bar is always going down. I mean, you can think about it. There are plenty of people who are billionaires. There are plenty of people who have the energy to be able to go do crazy amounts of things and do them at a high rate of, they're just doing stuff all the time. They're always just go, 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 go. We know people like that. You know who I don't know and who you don't know? Anybody who's immortal. Right? Time is always working against us. And so one of these things that we need to do, especially as we get older, if you're like me, I'm 33 years old. My energy has started to taper off, my money has started to increase, but my time always working down. And so the amount of time that I can give to something, this is a finite resource, right? Money is renewable. Money I can spend, I can re-earn, I can reinvest, I can use it to make more money. Money is something that can always be growing, and even as I dip it down, then it's always growing. Energy, to some extent, is renewable. If I have a rough week, or if I get tired or exhausted, then I can take a break. I can take a break mentally or physically or anything else, and I can recharge my batteries. But again, time is finite. Time is not something that I can go to the bank and get more of. Time is not something that I can, plug in at night and all of a sudden I get more time that's allotted to me. And so what you need to do is think about how you want to actually allocate those resources. So again, coming down to improving your style. A lot of times guys think, well, I want to minimize the amount of money that I put into it. And so what I'm willing to do is, maximize the time or maximize the energy. But the problem with that, again, is the renewability of those resources. And then the other problem when it comes to your style is that money always has to be spent. Because whether it's just maintaining your clothes or it's buying new clothes, money is always going to be spent. I mean, literally, unless you're willing to put in the time and the energy to plant your own crops and then grow your own cotton and thresh it and then weave it into yarn. And then, obviously that's an extreme example, but that's, being able to allocate both energy and time without having to put in any money. But that's obviously not worth it. The amount of those skyrockets in order to save you a disproportionate amount of money. And so what it is being able to know how much you should spend. And what really sucks is whenever you're buying clothes, if you haven't put in either the amount of time to study what you should be doing, the amount of energy to know what you should be doing, or the amount of money to work with somebody like me who can help you minimize time and energy put into these things. Yes, you pay more money by working with me, but these other things are minimized. Then any money that you do spend, if you don't, invest these other things properly, any money that is spent on clothing, there's this 50-50 chance that it's gonna be a waste because it's not gonna fit right, it's not gonna tell the right story, it's not gonna be an asset, it's gonna be a liability for you. And so what I want you guys to do is get out of this mindset of, how do I maintain as little money as possible when it comes to my clothing. Now again, obviously that needs to be proportionate to how much access to resources you actually have. If you don't have money, you can't spend money. But if you don't have time, you don't have energy, then it's worth it to spend money. So don't think that what I'm telling you is that money solves everything. It doesn't. Again, you can spend $350,000 for a college degree, but you still have to put in the time and you still have to exert the energy in order to get it. But at the same time, don't think that it's always a good exchange to maximize your time, maximize your energy, and not put in any money whatsoever. So again, know what your resources are, understand how all three of those work in conjunction with each other, and use them to your advantage. Now, I wanna hear what you guys have to say on this. I wanna hear if you can come up with, maybe there's a fourth variable that I'm not thinking about, maybe there's a fifth or a sixth, or maybe time and energy, or I wanna hear your guys' feedback on this. Now, if you're actually interested in investing some money so I can save you on both time and energy, I encourage you to go check out this link right here. If you were interested in watching more videos like this one, go do that right here. And if you were not already subscribed, make sure you click that button below so that you can get every video when it comes out, and I will talk to you guys on the next one.